to the program, and thank you for keeping tuned on Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. My name is Anthony Sebale, and I'm your host on this program. And today I have a very special guest with me. That is Mr. Calvin David Bateme, who is from Crested Capital. Now, Mr. Bateme works with Crested Capital as a research analyst in the financial markets, equities, and of course, fixed income. He's also an expert, of course, with valuable exposure in microcredit and the capital markets in Uganda. And of course, he has also participated in the initial public offers of CIPLA quality chemicals, and of course the recent one of MTN. He also has knowledge in microcredit operations and has carried out investor education to various companies, investment clubs, and circles. Of course, Calvin right now is pursuing his master's in banking and investment at Makerere University Business School. You're most welcome, Mr. Calvin.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, good to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. How is life at Crested
Capital? Yes. Moving on. Yeah. Although there are tough times, but we are managing. Yes. Yeah.
We're going to talk about tough times later because everyone is talking about the tough times. Yeah. But just take us walk through, what Crested Capital is and what their journey has been.
Oh, okay. Basically, by name I'm David Calvin Bateme, as you said. I'm still a youth, as you can see.
Yes.
Yes, Crested Capital. Basically, Crested Capital is a trade name. Yeah. But our name is Crested Stocks and Securities. Okay. That is our actual name. So we trade under Crested Capital. And the company has been around for quite a while. We are the oldest brokerage in Uganda, as per now. About 16 years now. Yeah. And we are located at Kimathi Avenue, just on Impala House. That's opposite the City Hall. That is KCC headquarters. So we've been there for a while, and we've won a couple of accolades in this time. We've been a lead stockbroker in Uganda. We've won FIRE awards. That is on reporting, financial reporting, and
Okay. So when did it start?
Crested Capital.
Yes.
16 years ago. That is about 2008.
2008. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And now talking about brokerage and being the oldest brokerage firm in Uganda, what has been the experience of the Ugandan capital markets since they started? I think in 1997.
Yeah.
What have you seen change? How has it grown? What has it been like working with the Uganda stock markets?
Okay. Basically, the capital market could be about 20 years now. Yes. And ideally in 20 years it has grown. Since if it has been able to trade for 20 years, then it's growing. And you see the number of companies that they are listed on are always increasing. Yeah. And you see by development, we have seen a shift on the exchange whereby we shifted from the certificate era. The physical certificate era, where people used to be issued with certificates. Now an online system, that is the SCD, that is a Security Central Depository. And you can also the most recent IPO is MTN. We are seeing that bigger companies are now more interested in coming in. You are seeing telecom companies, most of them are going to this type. Actually, I should say, because it was a cabinet directive to see all telecom list. And with such big companies like MTN, maybe Airtel coming on, I don't know when, but shall be when the company is ready to let us know. They'll let us know when it will be listing. We shall see other bigger companies listing. Yes, and this is good for the market. Yes.
With of course, you said we've seen growth and now moving to digital and so on.
Yes.
But compared with countries like Kenya, their stock exchange, of course, has been there for longer.
Yeah.
Since 1950 something, 54.
Yeah.
And theirs has grown so exponentially, given they have 65 listed companies, and the trading there cannot be compared to our trading and the activity on their market. What do you think has been, the gap that, we need to fill to see that our markets are also as active as their market and to get people interested in the market?
That's when I could take it two-way. Yeah, partly I would say, in fact, three ways. Yeah, because I look at the Ugandan himself. Yes, I look at the listed entities they are in, and I also look at the regulatory environment. Yes. To some point, other companies we talk to tell us that maybe the rules of listing are too stringent, in Uganda as compared to other markets elsewhere. That's why I said that we have not very many locally listed companies there in about 10 now, just locally listed 10 companies. That is on the regulator. So the regulators, that is CMA and the Uganda Associations, maybe should relax a bit on the regulation, and we see more, maybe they could have more segments of, if they deem them to be too small to list, we could have more segment them to where they fit. So we have the big caps, the small caps companies there, and we have them list that everyone enjoys this space of investment. Then also on the Ugandan side, I could talk about the market knowledge, because I realize as a investment advisors, we are tell people that you should always invest in what you understand, because if you don't understand what you are doing, then, and if you don't understand what you are doing, then you won't be able to reap what you ought to reap from that particular space. But the other thing is that to have this knowledge out there, first of all, Ugandans, I don't know where people take their information from, because maybe most of the Ugandans have been watching markets on movies and and that is the perspective they have about the market. So, and that a little biases your judgment on how, if you come to reality, because a film is a film, I want it to sell. So although sometimes they are based on true stories, but from these stories we have to learn, because I may pick a particular story of one individual and create a movie out of it. If it is a positive story, it will be positive. If it is a bad story, you may perceive the market to be bad. If a movie is about fraud, I may pick that as something about the market, that there's a lot of fraud in the market. That's why most people say, when you tell somebody that I'm a stockbroker, someone may have a people like, this people cheat. Because he has watched a movie about a stockbroker who was of that kind. But really, the Ugandans have to get this information, and actually we are readily available to give this information about how to trade and everything. The other thing is about performance, why our market maybe has been this bad, or this good. Could be about the performance of the listed entities. If you look at, you gave me an example of Kenya, where people are much interested in them, because a rational investor always invests where they are reaping, where there is return. So if there is no return, then people won't be interested in the space. So, but of recent, you could see that we are turning back to good days, because you see many most of the listed companies, if you look at the financials that have been released of late, most of them have been issuing dividend. So, and that's a return.
Given also CIPLA, which I don't know, you are part of its IPO.
We are the lead stockbroker.
You are the lead stockbroker for CIPLA. Last year, I think it registered the profit for the very first time. Since it was listed. How was that? How was it?
We are to have the coverage, and I want to interest most of people to read our coverages, because it is from these coverages that you actually understand what takes place, or what's taking place, or what the company is looking at, and you can be able to give you projections on what we hope the space may be in the future. But back to CIPLA, as you said, we introduced CIPLA to the market. So some people call it our baby. So we are liable for whatever to some extent, because we are also brokers, and it is a broker too. A particular broker signed the role of doing such a job. So for CIPLA, we just had a profit, their first profit since listing. Not ever, but since listing. Because
2014,
2017.
2017.
Yes, at around October 2017. And they have been having challenges, about payment of people they supply. CIPLA majors in production is a pharmaceutical. So malaria treatment, hepatitis, HIV majorly, and that line of treatment is majorly by government entities. Because malaria is government of Uganda gives malaria treatment free of charge at government hospitals. HIV treatment is free. So we see hepatitis B, the government is vaccinating people. Yes. So if government or governments that, because CIPLA supply governments in Africa, and there are not very many pre-qualified pharmaceuticals in Africa to supply. World Health pre-qualified companies, and CIPLA is one of them. And I think in sub-Saharan Africa, it could be the only pharmaceutical that is pre-qualified to do that. So we've seen they have been having challenges because of the economic challenges that governments have been having on payment. But it has come to light that most governments are like Zambia, Uganda, are now paying up. So you see they are performing, and now that they have improved their laboratories and their stores. And the recent, I think was yesterday, they published that they are now producing COVID-19 pills. That should drive, and of recent we've seen them having a drive of a painkiller. Yes, Cipladone. So maybe that will bring in more revenue. And now that they are now onto the retail market, because they were not doing retail initially, because you could ask any Ugandan if they had ever bought a drug from Cipla. So all of them are government drugs. So you see a Cipla drug, it's in the government hospital. So if they're now going retail, you would see that the revenues will also grow. So, and with the growth in revenue, we should expect a return at that. Yes.
You know, back to the issue of our market here in Uganda.
Yes.
The challenge mostly people are facing is awareness, as well as people who think actually this is an avenue for cheating, and people think as well those who actually now learn and get to know about the capital markets, the return is quite small and may take time. What advice, as you as an investment advisor and financial analyst, do you think the same way? Do you think that investment in capital markets is something for people who are rich to get a big return, or something for people who have actually are up there, government officials and so on, and me as an individual, I cannot gain, or I can gain only a small portion?
Not really, and that is a mentality or a perspective that we want to erode from the Ugandan mind if we want to actually develop our market. A time back, the CEO of the capital market, so that is Mr. Keith Kariojira, hinted on what he called patient capital. Yes, because most Ugandans don't have this capital, and the other thing about Ugandans, like, we like quick gains.
Yes, definitely.
We like quick gains.
Quick money.
And as you said, it's a capital market. This is a long-term investment. And if it's a long-term investment, it requires an adequate sum of investment. As you hinted that, is it for the rich to gain? Because ideally, you reap what you sow, yes? And let us do the numbers here. I'll pick on any company, as a Stanbic Bank, Stanbic Holdings, yes? How much is a share stock? A share
22.
About 22. Is that expensive?
No.
Yes? And ideally they are telling you that it's not, we will not say that come and buy stocks worth $1 billion. No.
The market, 22,000?
Yes, the company is the stock market is open every weekday. Yes? Every working day. Yes, and you are at liberty to trade, to accumulate. Actually, the thing here is that you have to accumulate. You have to have a number of stocks, because ideally, if they say the company X has made a profit after tax of 200 billion, yes, and they are saying 100 of this is dividend, yes, what your target should always be: how much of this 100 billion being given out in profit am I taking home? But that is calculated upon how many shares you actually have. But I've told you a stock, a share is 22 shillings or 100. The most expensive maybe being 15,000. That is British American Tobacco, Uganda. Yes, and the lowest could be about 6. Yes, that's just a coin. And if you look at the regulations of the Uganda Stock and the CMA, it say a minimum of 100 shares. Yes, can you buy those? Yeah, so it's not expensive. It's about the discipline. Yes, and the other thing I've always been talking about in the circles I visit and companies I visit is about the saving. Yeah, because we always have to differentiate between postponing consumption and actual saving. Because for me, ideally, I believe that if you are to save, there must be a component of investment in your saving. If you are putting your own money, yes, don't just put it under the pillow, because it's not gaining anything. Yes. invest it. That sort of saving is ideal. And most of us don't have how long we want to save. Yes, we just save. So ideally we just postpone consumption. But if you have an idea of how long you want to save, if you are going to invest in the capital market, don't just wake up one day and saying I'm buying company X. Yes, come back to the drawing board and see, if I invest in company X, how am I going to benefit? And we're always available to assist you on such matters of which company, on identifying which stock to buy in. You look at the company, how much is the stock price? And actually, most people who buy price always go wrong. Yes, it's always better to look at the value of the company. What is the company going to return at the end of the day? So although sometimes also buying price is good, because if the company is undervalued, then why not? Because there's room for the share price to go up. And you always have to identify, look out for why the share price is falling or is it going high. Because you may be excited and go into a run that may cause you problems. Yes. Yes.
So, there is also a problem with very many companies here in Uganda not, issuing, shares. I think that we have very many big companies here, which you would think by this time, honestly, they should be on the exchange. For example, let's go to countries like United States. You cannot have a net worth of over, let's say $200 billion and you're not listed. They have a chronogram that these companies in this category should be listed. Is that what is also lacking to see that we attract more companies invest? To come on the capital markets.
Ideally, that's a question we are supposed to pose to the regulator to see because in the same speech where Mr. Key talked about the patient capital, talked about many more companies coming out list. Yes. So I think behind the curtains, the CMA is working on ways of seeing more companies list. Yes. Because ideally, if I'm allowed, I could give you a list of companies that ideally would see. Yes. They are highly profitable and they have been here for a while. They have shown that their going concern is stable and they can list. Yes. So they could list. But that is up to the CMA to see to it that regulation. Now that you saw that cabinet came out and told telecoms to list, they could do the same directive for other companies to do so. If they didn't, because the president most times talks about repatriation of profit. Yes. And having Ugandans also have maybe ownership of such companies which have been here. Maybe they could have such a directive.
Talking about Ugandans, most companies we have seen, we love our stock market, much as it's small. Some companies like Umeme have a very high turnover already. But when you look at that turnover, almost 90% of it is by foreign investors. And they take out these dividends and profits back to their countries. Of course, when they're investing, it's a good thing, right? Because they help the company grow and they help us. But then when it comes to sharing in the profit and dividends and so on, they take it back to their country.
The stock market is not Ugandan. Yes. The stock market is open to investors. Foreign, local, and that's why you saw that during the most recent IPO, we went across the whole country. I was privy to be part of the team that was on all the town halls in Uganda, and another team went to Kenya, and it was all over. So anyone, so long as you meet the requirements to invest in Uganda, you invest. So if the Ugandans are not up to it, and other people, because these are people who are investing, have the material or they have read information about the stock market and how they can benefit and how profitable these companies are. If people outside Uganda, if foreigners are seeing how the benefit of our own stock market and we can't see it, then there's a problem. And maybe that we could use investor sensitization. Maybe that will pull it. But the number has been increasing. Yes, the number has been increasing. Yes.
We're going to go into a short break, but when we return, we talk about now the current situation of COVID-19 after recovery. I think people are even saying it's coming back, but at least...
Well, I hope it doesn't.
I hope, yes, definitely. but also according to inflation and so on.
Yes.
In these times,
yes,
when people are trying to use that small money they have to survive, can we still, trust, the capital markets to keep our money safely for the long term? We're going to come back for that and more. We are still with Mr. David Calvin Bateme, who is from Crested Capital, financial analyst as well. And we are talking capital markets here in Uganda and what Crested Capital has for us. We are going into a short break, but when we return with more with Mr. David.